Welcome back. Our last video, we talked about how important YouTube is as a search channel. If you have video content or have content that can be created as video, you should do it. YouTube is the second largest search engine after Google, and it's owned by Google, so it gets a lot of attention. Last video, we talked about ranking signals. It's important to understand what those key performance indicators are so that as you launch videos, you can look at what's performing and make changes to that video as well as any new content you want to add. Now we're going to talk about specific video optimizations and how to go ahead and get those videos noticed. First thing I want to talk about is keyword research. Just like a traditional SEO for your website, you want to take a look at keywords. There's no real keyword tool per se for YouTube, but leverage Google's tool and build off of that. You obviously are going to be driven by keywords when you're searching for these videos. So think about what people might enter in as a keyword when they're looking for your content. One tip, use YouTube's search suggestion to find the most popular searches around a topic. So if you start typing your search in the YouTube search bar, you'll see the drop down of relevant searches that Google will return, much sort of like what Google does on their main search page. Use that as a guide to understanding how your search terms may adjust and shift in order to be as relevant as possible in your keyword research. Jason, you want to talk about the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next thing to optimize for your YouTube videos is titles. Titles are probably one of the most important aspects of getting views on YouTube, aside from maybe your thumbnail image, which we'll talk about later. But if you don't have an engaging title, it's going to be really hard for you to get clicks. There are a few ways to build better titles, and obviously one of them is using keywords within the title itself, just as you talked about. Do that keyword research and make sure that you're using a keyword or a keyword phrase in the title. That will help drive relevance to the search and the search results, and you get those clicks into your video. Also, using, once you have the keywords you want to target, you want to use those to search for other videos that have done well in the search results. So, and say there's a lot of views on a video, but they have very few subscribers, there's a good chance that the video itself, where the title and descriptions and those things is really good and relevant, it's getting a lot of clicks and views despite a low subscriber count. So you can do some research there and make sure that you're getting, building the titles that are effective to drive users. Another important aspect about titles is to use plain language. Don't get too technical in your titles and avoid insider language. An example of that might be, how to use the aperture in your camera to take better pictures. The word aperture could be technical to someone who may be a more beginner. They don't know what that is. So a better title might be low light photography made easy, reduce noise without a flash. And so using beginner language, I guess, in a sense, just don't get too technical in your titles. Make sure they're user-friendly and that they're that you're going to get a wider audience to click through. Using common title formulas. You see these all the time. In fact, we use these quite a bit, like how-to videos. How to make healthy, tasty homemade dog treats at home. I made that one up. I don't really make dog treats at home, but that if I was and I searched that, I want healthy, I want tasty, and I'm trying to learn how to make dog treats. So that might be a good one. Versus videos. So Netflix versus HBO Max. If you had to choose one, go with Prime Video instead. Mistakes. 5 mistakes to avoid when buying your first home. Tips and tricks. 3 beard trimming tips for do-it-yourself beard grooming. Let's see. Tutorials, step-by-step guides, training. You get the idea that there's a lot of formulas that have been proven to work out there. You see them all the time. So you're definitely going to want to stick to those traditionally successful titles that get people clicking into your videos. And then the last one I'll say is, look at, again, I think we've mentioned it in a previous video, look at the previous top performing videos in your own channel, which titles have seen the highest click-through rates, and then emulate those. You don't want all your video titles to be the same, but you definitely want to, mimic what works. keep providing your audience what they're looking for. Chuck, anything to add there?
Nothing to add. The next one, though, description. This is a great one for YouTube. You've got about 170 characters that'll be displayed, but you've got 5,000 characters that you can use to build a really robust description to describe what the video is all about and get them to do something. Take advantage of that. A couple tips that we typically follow when we're building and writing descriptions for our clients. 1, a clear, concise message of the video's content. 2, a clear and concise call to action. You want the user to do something. You want to make sure you let them know your description, what that is. You may want them to subscribe to your channel. You may want them to visit your site. Whatever it is, spell it out for them. Relevant tags, and there'll be more on this later. And links. The nice thing about the descriptions in YouTube is that you can include a number of links. We always try to include links to our clients' Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn platforms. We include one to potentially the product page that's relevant to the video content. Maybe we include one to subscribing to the actual YouTube channel itself. One thing you need to do when you're doing these links is you need to make sure you include the HTTPS : to make them clickable. These are not embedded links like you would see on a website. So just doing www will display the link, but it won't be clickable. Jason, you want to talk about the next one?
Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier. So video tags are important to use. These are hashtags. We're all familiar with hashtags. They provide a relevant clickable search that's going to provide a user to see other videos or content on that specific topic. Now, if somebody's looking at your video and they click on one of your tags, obviously it's going to take them away from your video, and it's going to show a list of other relevant videos. However, if somebody clicks on a relevant tag on another video that might be related to yours, and then yours shows up in that list, then it's an opportunity for your video to be found when somebody else has clicked on that from another video. So it's important to have those video tags within on the settings of your video. The next thing too as well is super important, and I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about titles, is thumbnail images. And thumbnail images might even be more important than your title. I guess there could be some differences of thought there, but certainly a visual reference of your video that people are going to see in the search results right away. Most people's eyes will gravitate towards the video, the thumbnail, the image. And so using creative imagery and text overlays over that, we've all seen it, the person who has the shocked look on their face with a catchy title that makes you wonder, what are they shocked about? Now, you don't have to use those types. You might just have, a person smiling, or it might just be a picture of, software or a pet or whatever it is that you're trying to advertise or get across. Using creative thumbnails with a nice text overlay about the video is the most important thing you can do with videos. The alternative is, you're uploading your video. Google is, scanning that and provides you with a few different thumbnails that you can pick from to have as your thumbnail image. And typically they're just not going to be as eye-catchy and engaging. So using custom thumbnails to optimize your videos within the search results is super important.
And the last one is video settings. When you upload your video, there are some settings that you'll need to review. You'll need to choose a category, your video sharing preferences, and whether to allow comments. There's a few other settings too, but those are the key ones. We definitely recommend allowing comments. If you get some negative ones, you can deal with that or turn them off at that time. But for the most part, comments should be fairly relevant to the content. And if you're targeting a specific industry and a specific audience, the comments generally should be okay. If you allow your videos to be embedded, and you can choose not to, then your content might end up on another site. Now, this can be good or bad. If a popular content creator wants to feature your video on their blog or podcast, they won't be able to if you're not allowing that in your settings. So something to think about there.